IndyCar driver Stefan Wilson will miss the Indy 500 after today's crash. Has tipping gotten out of control? And a house party on the northeast side of Indianapolis ends up with somebody in the hospital after being shot. All part of what we're discussing here at 10 o'clock. Welcome inside the comfy confines of the Channel 13 studios. Ladies, how's everybody doing?
Happy Monday.
Good. Happy Monday to you too.
It's race week.
Woo!
I can't believe it's here already.
I know.
That means we're halfway through the year.
Almost. That's right.
I know.
Can't wait. We'll share that news about Stefan Wilson coming up in a moment and show you a picture from that crash. But weather for the final practice before Carb Day was beautiful.
It was great. We had lots of sunshine. We were close to 80 degrees. Wasn't too windy. We're going to add a few to the thermometer the next couple of days, so we'll be in the mid-80s both Tuesday and Wednesday. And very similar to last week, we still have those fires burning in Canada, so you may notice a little haze to the sky the next couple of afternoons. But 84 tomorrow and 86 on Wednesday. And then we've got a cold front that will come through. Not expecting any rain along the front, but this front will drop those temperatures. So behind that boundary, instead of the 80s, we'll be back into the low 70s on Thursday, and really no rain chance until maybe the end of the holiday weekend. We're going to watch this little low pressure system start to spin off to our southeast. If it gets close enough, we'll at the minimum have a few clouds. At the maximum, a slight chance for a spotty shower, and this is Sunday at race time. But you can see most of the green is east of us, and it's not very heavy. It's just going to be kind of interesting to watch because a lot of times our weather systems pull moisture from the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
This one looks to pull some moisture from the Atlantic.
That doesn't happen very often.
That's too far.
It's too far. It's too far. I think it'll be fine.
And it's going to be a dry week, which I think everybody's going to enjoy, right?
What if it'll be that mist that just cools you down because you're so hot in the stand?
Yeah.
But we can't have mist.
Yeah, we don't need mist on the track, though.
No mist.
The misting stations would feel pretty good. But
I'm saying it's better than a severe storm, guys.
Well, that for sure is the case.
Yes, for sure. We don't want any rain.
We got a long way to go before Sunday, so I'm sure you'll be fine-tuning the forecast.
It's one of those that looks like it's going to cut itself off from the main flow, so it's basically just going to wobble out there.
Right.
Mainly to our south and east. So we'll just watch it wobble and let you know what's going to happen.
You're going to watch it wobble.
Those Great Smokies has it covered.
That's right. They can have the rain
right.
this weekend. We don't need it. Carb Day.
Yeah, Friday.
It's been a while since we've had a good carb day. Sunshine, 75.
You're going to be out there?
I am.
The both of you are going to be out there.
I'm going to be out there.
And she said sunny and 75. I'm coming to work that day.
That'll be a fun day, Carb Day. We'll talk about that more over the next coming days. Do want to show you a couple of pictures. We're not allowed to show you video here on the 10 o'clock show, but these are the pictures of today's crash that happened a little after 10 o'clock today. Stefan Wilson getting into this crash with Catherine Legg. This happened a little after 2 today. So you've got Stefan Wilson, who is in the blue car, was hit from behind by Catherine Legg. Catherine Legg was able to get out without any serious injuries, checked out at the medical center there at IMS, and talked about some of the drivers checking up. Slowing down, and she got into the back of Stefan Wilson's car. So tonight we learned that Stefan Wilson suffered a fractured vertebrae, and as a result will not be allowed to race in the Indy 500. So obviously a lot of people concerned for his health. He'll stay in the hospital one night tonight. We obviously hope for his full recovery, and I think in the next couple of days we're going to learn who will be that driver to fill his car. We've heard Sage Karam, we've heard J.R. Hildebrand, we've even heard Graham Rahal.
Yeah,
so
it'll
be interesting to see what ends up. Look, we'll have to let the sports guys figure this out. Yeah. I'm just reacting to some of the...
You weren't putting the sports hat on?
No, this is some of the speculation that you hear on, by the experts. No, I am definitely not qualified.
So does he drive for Dry and Reinbold? I can't remember.
See there, I don't...
I was just curious. Yeah. So does the team get to fill?
I would believe it. I probably is.
Can they trade that to another team
it's
and let them fill it?
Next man up. They need you, Angela.
Right.
No, they need you.
No. Talk about slowing up. I'd be going 30.
Yeah.
Even around the main street.
Okay, yeah,
No,
never
I'd be
mind.
going 62.
You would. Angela always goes 62.
62.
On the
Sure,
way
yeah.
on the way home, my car is usually passing her
I'm
as she
sure you
goes
all pass
62.
me.
Because I go 63.
Yeah.
And I'm the one hunking at both of them to get out of my way.
Move.
It's tough because, literally days before the
Yeah.
Indianapolis 500 and
Right.
he gets this news. I mean, you felt for his health, and then
course.
it's like, oh man, you're missing out on this opportunity.
You bet.
Too.
Ryan Hunter-Ray reacting, hard to find the right words for this post. I feel so dejected for Steph Wilson. He has dedicated himself to this effort, and this race means everything to him. He surrounded himself with amazing partners in Dreyer Reinbold. You'll be back strong next year. So that's from Ryan Hunter-Ray. So lots of people wishing for a quick recovery for Stefan Wilson. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I know. I have questions
I got
too.
questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott's like,
I wish
"Don't
we had a
ask me."
sports person to talk to you about these.
You may or may not know, and if someone in the audience knows, you guys let us know too. I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I got to go out and get a whole new car and try to figure something out in the next 3-4 days. I mean, these are, I'm sure, not inexpensive cars.
Right.
So,
No.
I'm like, how
Yeah.
does that work? I
Now they've
wonder.
got backup cars. I'm not sure exactly how that works, if that backup car has to go to the back, or if they can fix the car, then it can stay in its position.
That's
So
interesting.
again,
Yeah.
sports guys will kind of figure all this out as we get
don't wanna wait.
closer.
I
we
need to
don't
know
want-
now.
I know. At least their team, they're probably talking about this, obviously, but we've not learned anything official. So we'll continue to monitor this and keep
Yeah.
you updated.
Okay.
What
What's
was
your question, Angela?
That was it. So he does drive for Dreyer and Reinbold.
Right.
So could Dreyer and Reinbold hire Graham Rahal, who doesn't drive for them, but
Right.
put him in their car?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I'll stop asking
These are
questions.
good questions.
Well, is Ray Hall a free agent?
Well, Graham Rahal is not,
Technically,
he's not,
probably
not racing on Sunday. He was bumped out yesterday. So he races for RLL.
I guess it depends
So
on who's writing the
Rahal,
check.
Letterman, Lanigan. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
is-
So we'll kind of see how
Is
things
Dave
go.
Letterman going to let him,
We will
for a
see.
price maybe? I don't know.
We'll see. All right, let's talk about this house party that took place over the weekend. Lauren Kostick followed up on what we learned today was a huge house party that ended in gunfire. Check this out.
If you see on the second piece of siding down, that little, that's the one that went all the way through the house. And went through
Nicholas
the
Blush
drywall.
Clark pointing to bullet holes in his home.
It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, I wouldn't wish that feeling on anyone.
Sunday, just after 1 a.m., the father of two huddling in a back bedroom with his family as gunfire erupted across the street. The next day, finding one of those bullets in his bed.
An absolute nightmare to grab your children out of their beds, not knowing if they're even okay. I mean, that something could have already happened. They were scared. We're scared.
Neighbors saying the violence stemming from a large party at this house, adding it's not the first time.
I've been here for 8 years, never had any issues, and this is like the third time, probably in the last 2 months, that there's been any issues.
Citing loud music, drinking, and crammed streets.
I would guess 300 or 400 because they were parked all the way, every place you looked, there were cars.
And these parties are even being promoted on social media, like this one, advertising a mansion pool party, charging $500 to $750 for exclusive access. And there is even one potentially planned for this weekend.
How can you have a pay for liquor and don't card, no police presence, no anything? You just,
IMPD tells 13 News it is aware of this area and its nuisance and abatement team is conducting follow-up investigations. We also tried to talk to someone at the home Monday, but they refused to comment. In the meantime, neighbors fear this violence could happen again, wanting the city to step in before it gets worse.
I just want it to stop.
In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
You hear that gunfire?
That's so
Can you
scary.
imagine that at 1 in the morning? It's your neighborhood and you hear that gunfire? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Scary.
a reality for
So,
some folks.
All right, we'll continue to follow that. Let's talk about tipping now. We want to know what you think. Has tipping to you gotten out of control? Where do you tip where you feel like, oh, wait a minute, why am I tipping this person or this business? So you found an article that out of BuzzFeed tonight.
Yeah, because as we keep going in this post-pandemic world, I feel like the rules are changing, and we're like in this weird after effects of what everything that will happen.
Right.
At any rate, my husband and I went to a smoothie shop today, and they asked for a tip, and it's like, you feel obligated when they start asking you, but it's not like a sit-down restaurant. It's not anything fancy.
Right.
You're going to make your smoothies and leave, and
Right.
I'm assuming, unless it's someone working for tips like a server, that you get paid hourly. So
Right.
Yes.
I did not tip.
So the article in BuzzFeed just says, look, 15 pieces of evidence suggesting that tipping has gotten out of control, and they had people bring in pictures. One said a person was asked to tip the machine at self-checkout.
That's too far.
Self-checkout. They're checking
Self-checkout.
themselves
Yeah, that's
out.
too
There's
far.
no person
Right.
standing there.
And they were asked to tip.
Oh, yeah, because
Wild.
they're like those kiosks.
Yeah.
Like at sports stadiums where
There you
you
go.
can self-serve,
Yep.
a couple drinks and exit and
So
pay.
who's the tip going to?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Here's a person who went out to eat and was expected to tip the waiter, which we would do, of course, but was also greeted by a line to tip the kitchen staff as well.
What?
So tip for your server and then a tip for the kitchen staff.
Post-pandemic, during the pandemic, I could see that. A lot of restaurants were doing service charge. They
Yeah.
were doing, charging a little bit extra on your check to try to cover
Yeah.
what they could.
Sure.
So I could see that, but that's kind of written weirdly on there.
Here's a person was prompted to tip on a pickup order.
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
We have.
So me being a server, the way it worked at the restaurant I was at, you still get taxed on all of everything that you ring in. So to leave $1 would at least cover that small tax.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I
typically
tip on pickup orders.
I
How
do.
much?
If it's
Yeah.
a local
I
restaurant.
don't know if it's a local restaurant. I mean, I tip. Maybe not as much as I would if I were going into the restaurant, but
So like 10%?
10, 15.
Like
A
a
little
couple
bit-
bucks
little
or
bit more than
$5?
that, yeah.
A little bit more? Oh.
all right.
If it's a local restaurant.
Yeah.
Typically
Well, excuse
local
me.
only.
Y'all's contract might look different from mine.
How about this? A person has never experienced a plumber requesting a tip via card reader before.
Oh, no.
I'm going to
Are you
stop them.
tipping the plumber?
No.
Look, we love our plumbers,
I'm
but would you
stopping
tip
them
the
right
plumber?
there.
No.
Because they will also be the same people that charge you $100 to come and be like, oh, you just got to tighten this screw.
Right.
That'll be $99.99.
How about this? A person was surprised to see a tip section when purchasing from an online store. Would you tip on an online store location?
Oh, but see, I have ordered online,
Yeah.
again from a local company, for pickup. And I
And
guess
then you
I
would
do
tip.
tip.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's like delivery.
Yeah.
But I went and picked it up.
Why would you tip?
It's a good question. Because they're local, I guess.
Can you tip me sometime?
Sure.
Okay, so Kim says GoFundMe now prompts for a tip. It is definitely out of hand, taking advantage of people, in my opinion. So yeah, so we're beginning to hear a little bit
You can
about
always
this.
say no.
Christy tips 20%.
We find it interesting. We've had this discussion now. They have those card readers that they just bring to the table.
Right.
So you just put your card in, and the tip's right there. And the tip, there's no longer 15%. It
Yeah.
usually
Yes.
starts at 20 or 18
Oh,
and goes
really?
up from there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
So if you wanted to tip lower than 20, you have to hit custom and figure out the math in
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah.
So-
I do think 20 should be the standard
I agree.
from
I
someone
agree.
that
Yep.
has worked in and also has a restaurant now. And so I do think 20 should be the new standard, but even when it's bad service, I still tip 20.
Okay,
I might
okay,
do
so
it
that's interesting.
begrudgingly.
So you would never walk out saying, this service was horrible, I'm not paying
I
anything.
mean, you have to do something really egregious, but
Yeah.
just bad service, you still got to go home and pay your bills at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And for the sake of at least having my voice heard, I might mention it to the manager, but not as a complaint, as a hey,
Constructive.
yes, because my family has a restaurant,
Right,
so
right.
I want people to still be paid, and let me know if it's constructive criticism.
Fulton says he tips $20. So Fulton,
Big money.
yeah, Fulton, just like,
Rolling in the dough.
Tell you.
way to go, Fulton.
His contract looks different from all of ours.
Yes.
All right, so tomorrow's weather is going to be
Hazy sunshine and
Yeah.
warm, 60 degrees at 8 a.m., 77 at noon, and highs in the mid-80s.
All right, very good. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at all the day's news. We'll have the very latest for you when we see you tonight in about 45 minutes over on 13. Good night.